Previously on Picking Apart the Self.
I encourage people to really understand their perceptions. Let's say we're talking about race or ethnicity. What do you think about Black people, about Asian people, about Hispanic people, about white people? Where do those assumptions come from? Is it your own individual thought? Is it because of your family? To really dig and understand those and be honest with yourself.
This is To the Max. Advice from today's experts to tomorrow's leaders. The road to authentic expression begins with honesty with ourselves. In part 5 of this series on authenticity in business, academia, and society, Dr. Opie delves into the dig process of shared sisterhood and how we can all learn to be our own harshest critics to connect with others.
You know, I talked about when I had a racist thought, and you might say, well, Tina, I thought you just described racism as powerful as prejudice. I'll tell a quick story. My son was maybe 2. He had a high fever, so it meant he couldn't go to school or pre-K, but he didn't want to go to sleep. So I take him to the park, and I'm thinking it's going to be, easy access because it's the middle of the day. It was packed. And what I observed was there were a lot of women with long, black, straight hair who looked like they were of Hispanic or Latinx descent. And here's the racist thought. I was like, they're not even probably supposed to be here. Why are they taking up my tax-paid park? That's the thought that came in my mind, Max. And then I called my husband and I said, oh my gosh, I'm so racist. And I say racist because I'm from a power dominant group, at least as where I'm saying I'm from the United States. I have no idea what their citizenship was, but that was the assumption. And I think sharing that, I share that with clients, with students. I'm a diversity, equity, and inclusion expert, and I have those kinds of thoughts. So to deny that we have those thoughts is futile, and it's actually unhelpful. I'm a Black woman. You would say, you should know better. It is heuristics, the way that our brain categorizes things and people. We categorize plants, we categorize colors, and it's natural to categorize people. But what I did not do was act upon that racist thought. I didn't go up to the women and say, get off of this swing, you don't belong here. Instead, I interrogated that belief. I began to do research on immigration. And then I was like, wait a minute, where are these negative attitudes coming from? So I did the dig process, and then I tried to bridge with that community, if that makes sense. That is an example of what I think is so important. So I was coming from a power dominant group. I didn't go up to those women and then say, help me understand your community. So then burdening them with educating me. One thing that I think is also important to realize is I focus on power dynamics. Most of us, because we have multiple identities, we have some identities that are power dominant and some identities that are historically marginalized. So I'm a Black Christian, well-off financially, academic. And so, Black and women have been historically marginalized, but Christian and well-off financially are dominant. And so there are some situations where I need to listen and learn from the historically marginalized perspective. So if I'm talking in a group and it's about religion and religious discrimination, I'm going to be quiet and listen more. Because, some people will say Christians are discriminated against, and I look at them like, really? You have Christmas off. You don't get, other Muslim holidays off typically. So it's built into the norm. And I can tell you that there are some very well-intentioned people who have caused a lot of harm when they try to connect with me as a human being. They'll say, oh, can I touch your hair? It looks so soft. Okay. This is not the zoo. I'm not a museum object, but that's literally what they want to experience. And they think it's being helpful. They're trying to advance toward me, not recognizing that that's an objectification. Right. And if they do the dig process and realize that they may be curious about the texture of Black, what is that really saying? I'm being othered. So then they need to interrogate that. They need to experience that and then connect with me. So that's sort of, and the large part is about dig and bridge and connecting with each other so that we can pursue the dismantling of systemic inequity.
What you're saying about kind of interrogating even what we think about ourselves is also really interesting, because I think a lot of times we think about, well, what do I assume about others? But we don't really think about, well, what are my assumptions about myself? Like, how is that affecting how I see other people as well, which is really, really interesting.
Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it and discovered something you can apply in your own life. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe. See y'all next time.